Hello and welcome back to World Traveler Cooking. Today we are going to make Nasi Uduk Biru. I'm actually going to translate that into English as rice with coconut and Clitoria flowers. The actual name of the flower was actually given by Carl Linnaeus in his works on plant taxonomy, and the reason why it has kind of a spicy name is because if you look at it right, it does kind of look like what you think the name refers to. So if you hear various different kinds of puns or innuendo in this one, we will definitely be intending most of that. So these are the Clitoria flowers, also known in Bahasa Indonesia as bunga talang, which is a much more pedestrian name. The Linnaean name of this, if you were trying to find it, is Clitoria ternatea, because these were found growing wild on the island of Ternate. Okay. Since then, they've been exported and are now grown in all of Southeast Asia and many other places. Again, sorry for the pounding noise. They are breaking down the house next door with hand tools, and it is going to take a very, very long time. So there will be that pounding, I'm sorry. But at any rate, so these are the Clitoria ternatea flowers, or bunga talang in Bahasa Indonesia. And if you look at them right, they definitely look like, I assume YouTube will not allow me to say that word here. But if you look them up, you will definitely see that the history of the name. You may not be able to find these, hint hint. But if you can't, you can omit them and you can just make a Nasi Uduk. But it won't have that wonderful blue flavor, and it probably won't impress that specialist somewhat. The rest of the ingredients are relatively easy to find and relatively easy to or at least easy to substitute. We have 2 cups or so of rice. We have, I'm not sure how many milliliters this is, but we have a packet of coconut cream. It looks like this is like 150 milliliters maybe. So that's like a little over half a cup. We have a stalk of lemongrass. Most of the recipes I've seen suggest to use a lot more lemongrass than this, but this strikes me as possibly overkill, so maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. I have 3 daun salam. These are already dried. Normally you'd use these fresh. But if you can't find these, just use straight 1 or 2 bay leaves. Then I have 2 lime leaves. You definitely want to use those. Now, the recipes I found have tended to call for a lot fewer of these flowers, but I have decided to use 12 of them, just because I got a whole bunch of them. Then we will add salt and stock powder to taste. We will make this in a rice cooker. You can also do it on the stove or in the oven, but on the stove is a little difficult because the traditional method would be to parboil these in water and then steam them. So it'll be a lot more difficult to come up with a nice blue color. Rice cooker works better. You can also do it in the oven. Same proportions and everything, just bake it. I think about 45 minutes at 400, maybe less than that, so check periodically. So I'm going to do a quick close-up of these flowers so you can see sort of why Linnaeus gave them the name he gave them for this genus, and hope you find that at least interesting and stimulating. So we'll do that, and then we will get started. So this is what the flowers look like individually. If we turn them on the side, sometimes these are called like blue butterfly peas or blue Asian pigeon wings or things like that. I don't think they look like pigeon wings. I think Linnaeus' name for them is a little bit more accurate in terms of what they look like. If you just kind of pull the petal off a little bit, you can see the part of this that this is named after right on the side center there. And in fact, if you do look at it from the right angle, you can see why this is kind of given the name that it's given. So, kind of fascinating, interesting piece of sort of nature, things resembling other things. Yeah. So next up, I'm going to bruise my lemongrass, and then we'll start preparing the flowers. So I suspect that the reason why many of the ones say use 3 stalks of lemongrass is because they're probably only using like this big. In Indonesian cooking, typically people only use this white part. But when you make rice, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to throw in the whole thing. But we want to bruise it. So just like take a meat mallet or a rock or something and just crush it. And I'm going to do that with the whole rest of it. But we had to cut it down into pieces because otherwise it's not going to fit in the rice cooker. There we go. There are other things we could add to this. We could add pandan, we could add ginger, we could add galangal, but yeah. So here's the lemongrass. So I've put my flowers in here in a stainless steel bowl. The reason for this is so you can see the color. I'm going to now fill this maybe about up to here with very hot water. And then I'll come back and I'll just set it on the plate here for insulation. And we'll let it sit for about 20 minutes. So I've added the water here so you can see about how much. I'm going to cover this and we'll come back in a few minutes. You'll be able to see the color. Okay, after some time now, this is looking nice and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the rice. And then we'll go ahead and get it started. We will do this in a rice cooker today. So first, in goes the rice. And then I'm going to just pour off some of this water. And let's try to see if I can do this so it's more visible in the camera. So this may not be deep blue at this point, but it should have at least a nice blue tint. So there's that. Next in goes the coconut milk. So this may be a whole lot of coconut cream, but that's what the recipe was suggesting. So I'll give you some suggested corrections afterwards. Then I'm going to set my herbs basically just on top of the rice. Now, I think I may have a little too much liquid for the rice there, but we will see. Last bit of, I'm going to wring these through. Try to get as much of that wonderful blue dye out as we can. And then this will go in the rice cooker. I almost forgot. Let's add, I'm going to start with just a teaspoon or so, maybe a teaspoon and a half of stock powder. And maybe half a teaspoon or so of salt. Don't need a whole lot. Now we're going to let this cook, and when it's done we'll be back. So the rice is done here, so I'm going to take the herbs out and I'm going to scoop it out. There's a white layer on the top that looks like coconut, and so I'm hoping that the stuff is nicely at least tinted blue underneath. So here you can see there's definitely a bluish tint to it. Sometimes when you add the coconut milk and stuff, you will get a little bit of browning on the bottom. That's normal. So you can just pay attention to how you're presenting it to kind of minimize the impact of that. The smell's really good. I think it's going to taste really good. I should have probably added about 3 times more flowers, but I think this is nice for a good start. I'm going to go ahead and decorate this, then we'll do some photography, and then we'll do the taste test. And now for the taste test. Now, normally this would be served with a variety of dishes, like, fried chicken and maybe like peanuts and a little bit of like a fried egg, maybe fried hard-boiled eggs with chilies, all that sort of thing. So I was skeptical about the amount of coconut, but this is actually pretty good. The spicing is also really good. I think that's all about right. It's definitely needed more of the flowers. Guess I'll do more next time I make this, which I'm sure I will. Yeah, the overall flavor in this is really nice. It's fragrant and it's rich. Yeah, this is delicious. This is delicious. At any rate, if you find this content interesting, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this dish, I'd love to hear it. Please let me know in the comments. And finally, recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.